Hello again. One did not really need to consult old Moore's almanac in order to predict that hundreds of thousands of people from Gaza would soon be heading our way. Donald Trump is keen for 2 million people to be evacuated from Gaza, and since none of the neighbouring countries seem at all keen on having them, it was perhaps inevitable we should end up being lumbered with them. Now, I often remark of this or that subject that I am not an expert in it, and I certainly know little enough about international law. Mercifully, though, I do have a fund of common sense. When I hear about an enterprise started in this country a couple of years ago called the Ukraine Family Scheme, I am therefore able to assume that it relates to families from the Ukraine. In much the same way, when I hear about the European Convention on Human Rights, I cannot help but suppose that it relates to human rights in Europe and not in outer Mongolia or the wastes of the Antarctic. Beginning from these two premises, I am wholly unable to fathom how a family living in Gaza is able to apply to emigrate to Britain under the Ukraine Family Scheme. And nor am I able to understand why they were allowed to do so under the right to family life, which is guaranteed in the European Convention on Human Rights. And yet, this is precisely what has been ruled by a judge at an immigration tribunal in this country. The implications for the millions of people living in Gaza are plain enough. They can come and live in our country. It seems that this family have a relative living in Britain, a man whom they have not set eyes on for 17 years. And yet the need for them to maintain their right to a family life means that they must all be allowed to come and live here. In the description to this video, I give a link to a news item about this dreadful case. It is not at all difficult to see how this is going to play out. The Ukraine Family Scheme closed down a year ago. The principles which it set out are evidently still in force, not just for the Ukraine, but also for Gaza, and indeed any other conflict anywhere in the world. This means that if anybody in any war zone has any relative at all living in this country, then they may be entitled to bring their entire family here. This right is, or so it has been ruled by a court in this country, enshrined in the European Convention on Human Rights. With every likelihood that millions of people in Gaza may soon be on the move, there is every chance that Britain will be the destination of choice. This could well be the beginning of the largest wave of immigration ever seen here.